there's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamma Mia podcast.
So your vulva isn't meant to look like a baby's bottom or a Barbie doll, which we've been sold. Some are darker, some are lighter, some have a bit more wrinkles, and some are puffier, which apparently mine is at the moment as my laser.
Your laser tech had some words about some hormonal changes going on down there, yes?
It's looking fat.
Hi there, welcome to Well, Your Full Body Health Check. I'm Claire Murphy.
And I am Dr Mariam.
And today, Mariam, we are dragging our sorry butts off the couch. We are going to talk about how to actually exercise while also be somewhat uninspired workout girlies. Is it safe to say you and I probably not the most motivated?
Very safe to say so. Unless chasing my twins is counted as cardio.
Incidental exercise I do all the time, but like
exactly.
purposeful exercise.
It's hard. It's, not on the list of my priorities, unfortunately.
Yeah. There are ways, apparently, and we will speak to experts today who will actually help us.
Yes, I need all the help.
We all need all the help.
help.
We'll also check in with Amelia, who's a little bit worried about the look of her labia.
So am I.
Yeah. Mariam might just share a little personal story about her own labia. We'll check in on her. But next, we're going to head to med school to find out what happens when our vaginas become a little bit too spicy.
Oh, I like that.
Welcome to med school.
I don't know if you saw this, Mariam, but Canadian journalist and host of the Boy Problems podcast, Liz Plank, recently posted this on her Instagram.
New diagnosis just dropped. I just got diagnosed with an acidic vagina.
Well, I know what you're thinking. You can't have heartburn. That's not you can't have that there.
You can. Yes, you can. And is there anything you can do about it? No. I love being a woman.
So if you missed that, she's been diagnosed with an acidic vagina, which I wasn't aware was a thing. In the comments, she claims that this happens when you can take too much healthy probiotics. So basically what she's saying is her vaginal pH is lower than normal. So the normal range, I believe, for women of reproductive age is between 3.8 and 4.5. Those numbers actually mean absolutely nothing to me. That's just what I've been told is the norm.
Yep.
That can actually fluctuate with your menstrual cycle and with perimenopause and menopause. But we maintain that average acidic level in our vagina through the lactobacilli down there. That's the good bacteria that produce lactic acid. Now, we more commonly really hear about the impact of having higher pH levels because that can create an environment where bacteria like to grow, and so you might end up with something like bacterial vaginosis. A lower pH usually helps maintain that protective environment against those bacterial colonizers. But what if it goes too low? So a more acidic environment doesn't usually increase the risk of infection or disease, but it can affect your ability to fall pregnant because as we have discussed...
contraception!
As we have discussed in previous podcast episodes, the female body is actually really good at killing off sperm. Like we're just like...
We don't like your sperm, boys.
We don't like your sperm. It is a hostile environment and the first line of defense is the acidity of the vagina, right? So if it is too acidic and you're trying to fall pregnant via the penis in vagina method, your vagina might just be going, no. You're going to all die before you go anywhere. But what actually causes our pH levels to drop, and is it linked to overdosing on probiotics, you reckon?
Like you said, the vagina is meant to be a little bit more on the acidic side. That's what keeps it healthy and keeps the bad bacteria in check. So, you mentioned levels 3.8 to 4.5, and thanks to those good bacteria, lactobacilli, which produce lactic acid.
Or did I say lactobacilli?
Lactobacilli.
Lactobacilli? Is that the way you say it?
I think it's lactobacilli,
Okay. I trust you. You have a medical degree.
Okay, so now can it actually become too acidic? So technically, yes, but that's rare. Body is really great at regulating itself, like you mentioned. So things that can mess with the balance are stuff like antibiotics, hormone changes, or overwashing. So as for probiotics, they're not really the villains. They can be helpful, but there's this idea that if a little is good, then more must be amazing, right? And that's just not how our bodies work. So if you take heaps of these heavy lactobacillus containing products, in theory, you could probably tick things slightly to the more acidic side, but there's no strong evidence that it happens enough to cause problems. So short answer is possible, but not likely. Vagina really doesn't need micromanaging. She's self-cleaning, self-balancing. She's pretty fucking amazing. So, yeah, we don't really need to overdose on probiotics or
Okay.
go nuts with cleaning it. So, yeah, I wouldn't really try taking more than the recommended dosage on probiotics if you are on probiotics.
She's a self-cleaning oven and she doesn't like sperm. That's what we know about our vaginas.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on from hostile vaginas to doing something I struggle to believe that anyone actually truly enjoys in real life, exercise. So for those of us who are finding it hard to fit it in or just find it like, ugh,
Yeah.
like that's how I feel a lot of the time about exercise, we're going to find out how we get better at exercising, getting as big a bang for your buck as you can get.
BBB.
BBBs for everyone.
It's time for the checkup.
So here's the thing, admission time. I hate exercising. I especially hate it in summer.
Yep.
I am a red, sweaty mess of a human being when I exercise. And I also have a fairly significant iron deficiency. So when I exercise, I can't get enough air into my lungs. Yeah, that's me. Like I'd go for a casual walk with my friends and it'd be a slight incline and they will be chatting away. And I'm in the background going, like that's me. Can't even get myself up the hill. So I just want to clarify though, I don't hate how I feel afterwards. Like I feel good after I exercise. It's the doing the exercise that I don't really like. But I have been making some changes to my daily routines in order to sneak it in. So last year, someone suggested to me, chuck in squats when you're doing something else. So I was like, okay, without it being weird, how do I do that? And then I realized I stand there and brush my teeth in the bathroom for a fairly decent amount of time. So I do 50 squats with every toothbrush every day.
Wow, how long are you brushing your teeth?
I do 25 squats for the top and 25 squats for the bottom.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So dental hygiene and squats at the same time.
Look at you winning.
And so like that's how I have to sneak it in because I can't go, okay, I'm going to go to the gym now.
Yeah.
Because if I set an appointment, the dread sets in and then I will do everything I can to avoid it.
Yeah.
I also have done things like put weights next to the telly, which doesn't always work because sometimes I just want to lay on the couch. But if I'm looking at them, then I might pick them up and use them. I am also a Mamma Mia subscriber. And yes, I don't pay for it because I work here. Sorry. But we have an app called Move, which does like a whole huge range of different workouts. And because it's on my phone and I'm already looking at my phone, I find that they are pretty easy to do. And I know there's quite a few apps out there that help you get motivated.
Yep.
I also recently came across this video, which I'll play a little bit for you now. This has been broadcast since I believe the 1920s in Japan on Radio Daily. It's called the Taiso workout.
腕を前から上に上げて大きく背伸びの運動はい1、2、3、4、5、6手足の運動1、2、3
It's like a range of 13 moves, which is so easy and so simple. And you can imagine like kids doing it every morning before school and like maybe employees at a business doing it before work. And it kind of like just gets the blood moving and like jumping up and down for a little bit, which I know is good for your bone density and stuff. I've just been doing that when I can. And then I'm also incorporating it. So when I go out onto the back deck in the morning, I prop up my phone and I do that and get a little bit of sun because it only goes for like 3 minutes. And I get a bit of sun on my forearms to get my vitamin D in.
Perfect.
And so like trying to like sneak it all in together is how I'm doing it. What's your exercise routine look like?
It's just kind of moving
At all?
when and how my body lets me.
Yeah.
I've been doing, a bit of brisk walking as much as I can and light weights. And I've booked in to see the physio, which I'm so proud of myself.
Good.
Because I need a bit of guidance as to what I should be doing and I really don't want to pull anything. We know that pregnancy can put you in a bit of a fragile state.
Because also you get that relaxin hormone too and your ligaments will kind of stretch out a little bit. And
my left butt cheek is killing me.
Yeah,
so
right.
when I'm walking, it'll just start to strain and then I'll have to like kind of sit down and do some stretches. So I did buy an Apple Watch. How beautiful is that?
Oh,
Look
that
at
is
It's
very
very pretty. And that's kind of been a bit of a game changer because it reminds me to get up, to move and to stand. So when I'm in clinic, it's like, time to stand. And
isn't that like so
I'm like,
rude?
I know, it's so rude. I'm like, shut up.
Mine says time to get moving and I'm like, excuse me.
Well, imagine time to
I'm
stand.
busy.
It's like you've been on your butt all day.
Sometimes mine tells me to stand whilst I'm standing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, pay attention.
That is rude. And you can also link it in with your friends' numbers as well. So that makes it fun. And I'm
Get an accountability partner.
I
Yeah.
am so competitive. So I have to outnumber their steps every day. Like I'm like really.
I love that about you.
Yeah, no, I know it's just such a bad trait, but like my hip would just been, I'm like, keep going, Mariam, got 2,000 more steps to go. Got to beat Gracie. But I'm really looking forward to getting back into some proper strength training. Like I know that's going to be really important for me. But now I'm just kind of taking it slow, listening to my body and letting it guide me through this season. And we'll see.
Well, so basically the reason Mariam and I are kind of sharing this is because we know there's like exercise junkies out there and they're doing amazing work, and I see it here in the Mamma Mia office. A lot of my colleagues are like really into it, going to the gym, and
a lot of people like to broadcast it.
Yeah, and then I see, is it Strava, the thing where they're all like running maps?
Oh my
God. And I like great.
I'm rolling my eyes.
You are actually legitimately rolling your eyes, which is already great, but none of that motivates me. And I understand like a lot of those things don't motivate you either. So if you are like Mariam and I, next we're going to speak to Dr Mandy Hagstrom, because not all exercise is created equal, and we want to find out what we can add into our routine so that we have the biggest impact for our overall health.
Quick question. Are you tired of the news? Do you want a podcast that isn't self-improvement? Come get unleashed. It's funny.
I also think that underwear is sort of almost like a new marriage. Like it starts off, it gives you the best of what it offers at the beginning.
It's unhinged.
I have a bit of a thing for my friend's husband's salami.
Oh, hello.
It's not here to teach you anything.
I need to make sure he looks at me. One side, I'm going to make a sign. This is what I married because I didn't meet you in time.
Yeah, right.
The other side, with pointing to my son who's 12, look what we could have had, Lewis.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a good time for Gen X. So search Unleashed wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Tuesday.
Dr Mandy Hagstrom is an accredited and award-winning exercise scientist and a senior lecturer at the University of New South Wales. We kicked off our chat with her by asking whether that 30 minutes of exercise a day really does have any impact on our health. Mandy, thank you so much for joining us today and essentially helping us lazy girls get some movement into our otherwise lazy days. Now, Mandy, I think the first question we want to kick off with is for someone who's reasonably healthy, how much exercise do you actually need to see real benefits? Not just for fitness, but for things like longevity and disease prevention, because we're told 30 minutes a day. Is that actually enough?
There is no one-size-fits-all approach. So the physical activity guidelines are 150 to 300 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity over the week, in addition to strength training or, I guess, exercise that challenges muscle and bone. Now, if we look at the data, any exercise is better than none. So if you find that number overwhelming, it doesn't mean you should do nothing. Interestingly, there's also some sex differences in terms of the benefit. So we see data that shows that men gain the biggest benefit in terms of their overall risk of dying from various diseases at about 300 minutes a week, but women get similar benefit at 150 minutes a week, so half. Now, women do continue to gain benefit up to that 300 minutes, but the steepness of the benefit becomes a little bit less. So that 150 minutes a week, that is about 30 minutes a day. And, you know, moderate to vigorous physical activity, it can encompass a whole range of things. It doesn't have to be going out and doing something that you find really overwhelming.
So then can we talk about frequency? Because is it better to say squeeze in quick workouts every day, or would, say, a couple of longer sessions each week be just as effective?
So there's some really interesting data here. I guess it's termed the weekend warrior pattern of physical activity. So, you know, those that find it hard to get anything done during the week. If you've got a family and a full-time job and house responsibilities, then you go out on the weekend and you might play some social sport or go for a run and go for a hike. There's actually no difference in benefit. So I think figuring out what works for you the best and what you feel best from. So myself, I feel better if I do exercise more frequently because it helps me stay on track with all the other sort of lifestyle behaviors. So I'm more likely to make better choices around sleep and alcohol and food if I'm active during the week compared to if I kind of wait to the weekend.
Okay, so what about if someone's mainly sticking to walking as exercise? Is that genuinely enough for good health, or do you need to go harder to get the full benefit?
So it depends on where people are at. And this is where I guess the one-size-fits-all physical activity approach isn't really I guess it doesn't work for everyone, because if you have someone who's highly conditioned and they go for a walk, they're not going to see their heart rate rise to the point that they get that physiological benefit. But if you have someone who's quite deconditioned and quite inactive, if they go for a vigorous walk, their heart rate is going to rise into those ranges or zones that they'll get the benefit. So it really depends who you are, what your goals are, and what your health status is to if walking is enough. I think walking is a fantastic form of exercise, but for a lot of people, it's not going to get those benefits for the cardiovascular system, for muscle and bone as other types of exercise are.
Do you think most people should prioritize cardio or strength? This feels like my entire social media feed is people either telling me I should be doing more cardio or doing more strength. Like, what do I do?
If only it was that simple. So both exercise types confer totally different benefits. And I really don't think you can neglect either. And I think it also neglects the research to say that one trumps the other, because the research is entirely different. So the benefits you get from the cardiovascular training on your heart, your lungs, your circulatory system, the prevention of things like type 2 diabetes. Strength training, you increase muscle and bone mass, which are important for age-related losses of muscle, sarcopenia, and things like osteoporosis. Also, things like prevention of fall. So, I mean, the risks and benefits they're entirely different. So, again, it depends on your goals and it depends on where you're at. Realistically, for overall health, longevity, and probably just how you feel, a moderate amount of each is going to be superior, because you can't get the cardiovascular benefits on their own with just strength training, and you can't get the muscle and bone benefits with just aerobic training. So I really think that messaging, because I see it too, it's all over the socials, that this is the approach that you must do. And particularly at the moment, it seems if you're a woman, it's this and it's this specific thing. And the data just does not support that at all. And I think it's quite a damaging message, because it also takes away people's autonomy. You know, what do you want to do? What do you feel you should do? Rather than being told you must do exactly this one thing.
Okay, so if we're looking at strength and cardio as two different things, if you are someone who is not overly active at the moment, so we're not talking about people who are already kind of in a set routine, if you need to get started, what would you suggest as the first thing cardio-wise you would suggest getting into as giving us the best bang for our buck, and then the first strength thing that you think we should look at? So either side of the coin.
There's a lot of factors to consider here. Money, for one. Do you have the means and want to go and join a gym? If you do, and it's going to fit within your routine and your budget, and you're actually going to go, then I think the easiest way to implement strength training, especially initially, is to go to a gym and use a facility in a routine. So you know that, on Tuesdays and Fridays is my strength morning, and I'll do those workouts, and I'll go in and I'll use a specific piece of equipment doing this weight while you get everything organized, and then you can progress from there. But I mean, that's not for everyone. So if you decide exercising in a gym environment isn't for you, then there are heaps of apps you can use or home-based stuff that you can do to start. So body weight strength exercises are great, especially if you haven't been exercising. You're going to get benefit from using your body weight for strength. But if you're highly trained, that's where you are likely to plateau. So again, it's meeting people where they are. So doing body weight exercise is a great place to start. And a lot of people do recommend that. But actually, sometimes I think it's harder to start with body weight, because in the gym with the machines, you can really scale to where you're at compared to just going, you know what, I'm going to get down the floor and do 10 push-ups. For a lot of people, that's just not realistic as a starting point.
Yeah, because if we could take off 50 kilos of our own body weight that we can't lift yet, that would really negate the need for exercise, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess it's a bit of a catch-22. So gym would be the simplest way to make those initial gains and also feel really good about yourself, but that's not for everyone. So finding a routine that you're going to stick to probably is actually the number one thing, regardless of where you're exercising. Doing strength training consistently is what's going to help you make the gains, because if you do it intermittently, especially as we get a bit older, we tend to feel quite sore. So I know, if I haven't done a lifting session in a while and I do one, even if it's not that hard, I'm sore. And for someone like me, I quite enjoy it. So it doesn't put me off training. But for people who are less accustomed to exercise, a lot of people don't like that feeling. And if they feel it, they're less likely to do the next session and the one after that, which matters more for overall longevity. So that one's a bit of a mix. In terms of cardio, it's actually kind of the same thing. What are you going to stick to? Because what you stick to is what you'll then be able to gradually improve in your intensity and your volume and your frequency. So running is great. It gets you outdoors in green space, gets you fresh air. It's a nice chance to clear your head, but it's also quite high impact and it's quite a hard entry point. So if people like the idea of running, things like the walk, run can work really well. If not, something like a cycle. But even that can take a while to get that enjoyment phase. Some people will want to watch TV while they bike.
Yeah, because the bike also hurts your butt. You got to get like butt trains for that.
Yeah, it takes a while, and you got to have the right seat too, right? Exactly. And then, I mean, if you do periods where you get in and out of the saddle, where you're pedaling a bit harder, that you can get more cardiovascular benefit. It can also ease the discomfort on the bum.
Good to know. Okay, so talk about making time to go to the gym, or even just making time to exercise in your day-to-day. Lots of us are struggling to do that, especially as women. We carry huge mental loads. We are often caring for children, going to work, caring for older parents, running a household, are a personal assistant to our partner. Like, it's a lot. What advice do you have for fitting exercise into our packed schedules with actual results?
So no matter what, that guilt you feel, don't. By prioritizing you are going to be the best at all of those things. So I know myself, when I fall into that rut of dropping exercise a little bit because all of those things you mentioned kind of creep up, I'm not as good a wife, mum. I'm not as on top of everything else in the house, work, everything. So making that time for you, it's not selfish. It's protecting your health and making you the best version for yourself, for those around you as well. So even if you can carve out little bits of time initially in a routine and you find that more manageable, once you've got that routine down, you can expand it. So even if it's something as simple as, I can't find the time before getting my kids ready, maybe you get up 20 minutes earlier. So you prioritize going to bed 20 minutes earlier. So your routine in the evening, maybe that doom scroll, stop that doom scroll and go to bed. And that 20 minutes you gain from that ceasing your doom scroll, you get up early and you do yoga before your child wakes. Or if you've got two partners in the household in the morning, one can whip out for a quick walk or something like that. So I think the biggest piece of advice is find a schedule that works for you. Don't even worry at the start about what's in that schedule. You know that this is your time to do these things, and then you can work on what is the best bang for my buck in those things once I have the pattern down. Once you start, if you're like, oh, this type of exercise, I don't like it, don't do it. Do something else. So don't ever feel you have to do one thing if it's not working for you.
What about time of day? You mentioned getting up earlier then. There's a lot of conversation online right now about exercising before you eat in the morning. So getting up and exercise being the first thing before you have breakfast, because apparently fasting exercise is better for you than after you've eaten later in the day. So is there any truth to that? Is it better to exercise in the morning or at night? Where do we do it? When?
Rubbish. It's all rubbish, like a lot of the stuff on social media. Mm-hmm. So there really isn't evidence to support exercise as being more beneficial at different times of day. So there's a couple of things to consider with when you select your time. If you exercise later at night, you are more likely to take longer to fall asleep, and it may affect your sleep quality. So exercising too late in the evening does seem to have some negatives. But exercising first thing in the morning, before you eat or after you eat, or at lunchtime or after work, has no impact on adaptation. So I guess all of that came about because people think, if I exercise before I have food, my body's using fat as a fuel. And if it uses fat as a fuel, that's going to mean that it's going to result in loss of body fat. But in effect, that's not what happens. Our body is smart. We compensate. So when we exercise fasted, there's some research that shows we tend to make poorer food choices throughout the day. So we may eat more to make up for it. We move less incidentally. So we may do less actual activity. And our body then changes the metabolism in terms of the fuel source it's using. So there's actually no evidence to show that this acute change in a fuel source, like while you're exercising, translates to change in body fat. So that's where I guess the disconnect on social media comes. Some of these influencers who don't really understand the science, they latch on to this mechanistic thing that potentially is done at one point in time, or is done with an animal, or is done in an entirely different population. And they say, well, actually that makes sense that if we do this, extrapolate forward, this happens. But in reality, there's so many ways and things that affect us overall that often the acute doesn't translate to the long term.
Can you give us a little overview of what a good starting routine might be? Because I think motivation is probably the hardest thing to deal with most times. Like we might find a little gap in the day and just think, God, I just want to sit on the couch and not do anything. So what kind of things, like getting out and going for a walk is probably a good start. But say you want to add in squats, planks, lifting some weights, and you're not going to the gym, like what's a good way to start off just getting moving? What suggested moves in a little routine do you think can just get us up off the couch and get started?
So I guess first figure out what days are going to work for you. Book the days in. Are you a weekend warrior? Are you not? I love to do everything during the week because the weekend, it's my family time. I love to do things and have fun. And, maybe I'll do some exercise, but it's more likely to be a hike or a paddleboard or that kind of stuff, right? So get your time. And then if you're wanting to do body weight stuff, give yourself a time goal to start with. Say, you know what, for the first week, I'm going to do this routine 3 days a week for 10 minutes, right? So already you've got half an hour across the week and 3 10-minute spurts. You can write on a piece of paper, I'm going to do 3 sets of squats and 3 sets of lunges and 3 sets of step-ups and planks for 3 blocks of whatever time is suitable for you, and maybe some little tricep dips on the chair and some wall push-ups if you're not quite comfortable getting down on the floor yet. So write yourself a bit of a plan, have a go and see how long it takes you. If it takes you less than 10 minutes, add some more exercises on. If it takes you more than 10 minutes, perhaps back off for the first few weeks and only do, say, 2 sets. Once you've done that for 3 weeks, add a couple more exercises in, or a couple of sets of each exercise, or even just a rep or 2. So if you were doing sets of 8 squats, have a go at 10, see how that feels. So you can kind of, once you've got your body moving, it's easier to add sequentially over time.
So, Mariam, it seems like the biggest thing we need to consider when it comes to bang for your buck exercise is more about finding that one thing that at least gets you started and that you really like, and then you're able to stick to and build on it.
Yeah, that's right. So the best kind of exercise is the one that you'll do.
Yeah, I mean, yes, right.
Yeah. And we know from the evidence that consistency beats intensity every time. So you don't need to smash yourself with the gym 6 days a week. So it's about finding something you enjoy enough to stick with and then slowly building it from there. So we know that that mix of aerobic and resistance training that we spoke about gives you the biggest health benefits for your heart, your bone, your metabolism, and mental well-being. That's a massive one. So meet people where they're at. For some, that might mean starting with a 10-minute walk around the block or a few body weight exercises at home, and that's perfectly okay. What matters is building to a point in a way that feels realistic and kind to yourself. And it's not about chasing perfection. It's about creating a routine that fits with your life and feels sustainable. And I think that's really important, especially as females, where we're kind of fed a lot of stuff on Instagram with ladies that have kids and are working and doing it all and somehow still manage to go to the gym. When I see that stuff, to be honest, it really makes me feel like shit. So
yeah, same.
Yeah.
Okay. Mission for this week?
Yeah.
Find exercise I like.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check in with you later and see if I find one.
Can I say I do love skipping? I was a pumper jumper.
What is a pumper jumper?
Have you heard of pumper jumpers?
No.
So
I did jump rope for heart when I was a kid.
So that's what it is.
Okay.
You're called pumper jumpers. So and I used to go to camps and I could do triple unders. I could skip in double dutch.
Oh, I loved double dutch. That was so fun.
So I bought a skipping rope and but after the twins.
But also too, I did skipping rope before I grew boobs.
Yeah.
And now I have to gaffer tape them down before I can jump.
I know, because everything's moving.
Yeah.
But for me now, it's the urinary incontinence.
Yeah, a friend of mine jumped on her kid's trampoline a little while ago. And she's like, I should not have done that. She looked quite traumatized by it.
So sad. So I'm no more a pumper jumper.
Oh, sad. Okay, sadness for leaving behind your pumper jumper past.
Mm-hmm.
On the way, it is quick consult time. Amelia is wondering whether her lips are quote unquote normal.
Want to feel good more often in 2026? Hi, we're here for you. Move by Mamma Mia helps you fit movement into your everyday, giving you more of me time whenever you need it. From strength and cardio to yoga and Pilates, with workout plans that fit every space, every body, and whether you've got 10 minutes or 40. Start 2026 with enjoyable movement from just $9.99 a month. Mamma Mia subscribers get unlimited access. Head to move.mamamia.com.au and use MoveMe to get $20 off an annual subscription.
Okay, Dr. M, it is time to bring us into the rooms, please.
The doctor will see you now just through here to consult room 1.
Amelia, thank you for waiting. How can I help you?
Amelia wrote us a really straightforward, very simple question for today's quick consult. She popped into the waiting room to ask it. You can do that too if you like. The link to that is in our show notes. This is all she wrote, Mariam.
Is it normal if down there is a little wrinkly and not fully pink? I don't know.
I love it. Straight to it.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, totally normal. So your vulva isn't meant to look like a baby's bottom or a Barbie doll, which we've been sold. There's no one-size-fit-all approach when it comes to colour, texture or shape. Some are darker, some are lighter, some have a bit more wrinkles and some are puffier, which apparently mine is at the moment as my laser.
Your laser tech had some words about some hormonal changes going on down there, yes?
It's looking fat.
That's an interesting choice. Plump is the word I would have used.
Well, yeah, it's all plumpy now. Okay, so that's all part of normal human variation. So think of it like faces, right? So no two are the same and yours tells your own story, right? So that soft pink glossy look you sometimes see online or which we're fed through porn. Just think of lighting filters. And let's be honest, like anatomy models, even anatomy models. In real life, vulvas come in 50 shades of beige, brown, pink, and purple, and they're all healthy. So think of it like this: skin anywhere on your body changes with age, hormones, childbirth, and genetics, and your vulva is skin too. So it can be lighter and it can get darker, can get more wrinkles, and even a bit of unevenness in tone. That's totally fine and completely normal. What's not normal is if there's any symptoms associated, like itchiness, pain, sore, vaginal discharge, or colour changes that are sudden. That's when it's worth checking in with your GP. But otherwise, your vulva doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be healthy. Celebrate your unique bits and flaps. And if you're curious or want a confidence boost, please check out the Vulva Gallery online. Have you ever seen
I have.
it? Yeah?
There's also one called Flip My Flaps, which is
Flip My Flaps.
another great one to reference.
I love it.
And we also have an article on mamamia.com.au, which is like a whole range of this is what vaginas actually look like.
And I really encourage people to have a look. It shows how different and beautiful real vulvas are. So let's celebrate our flaps with all its different colours and wrinkles.
Some are hairy, some are smooth, some are pink, some are red.
Love your vulva, girls.
Love your vulvas. Thank you so much for hanging out with the good doctor and I today. Friends, remember, you all should know this off by heart by now if you have been listening to Well for any period of time. But we've got to say it, all the advice you've heard here today is general and isn't actually about you, even though we all want to be the main character. And I, to be honest, think everything is about me, really. But you can use this information as a tool to take to your own doctor and ask the questions you need to get to the bottom of your health concerns. Next week, we're coming in hot for International Women's Day. I swear that is not a poke at anyone currently having hot flushes due to menopause. We have an interview with a different and very special kind of doctor. You will know her best as Dr. Addison Montgomery, the neonatal surgeon on Grey's Anatomy. But we will be talking to the woman behind the doctor, actress Kate Walsh, the woman who was diagnosed with a benign brain tumour and who learnt to advocate for herself to finally be heard. This interview is an insight into Kate's world of pain and fighting for her health, and obviously chucking in some Grey's Anatomy tales along the way too. Don't miss this one, guys. She's the best fictional doctor out there, but also a glorious human being in real life. So we'll catch you for your appointment then.
Bye-bye.
Well is produced by me, Claire Murphy, and our senior producer, Sally Best, with audio production by Scott Stronach, video production by Julian Rosario, and social production by Ellie Moore. Mamma Mia acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we've recorded this podcast on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and the Wonnarua people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.